I reform slowly after Devon leaves. The process is always slow, always excruciating. The first thing to return to me is my breath, the next the beat of my heart. I can't move because the pain always follows. My skin is charred, blackened, and beneath my burns remains a more intense inner heat that consumes me. Even the light press of the remains of my dress are too much. Eventually, though, the pain begins to fade as Devon's black magic restores my captive soul. I watch the burns heal, the dress reform. The only thing that remains changed from when I'd been alive is the mask that is melted to my face, a sign of fallen pride. Oh, how I'd fallen. I stand after the process is finished. After 2 decades of nightly torment, I'm used to it. My roughest piece of the curse was the first few years, when I'd believed that I had no use of my limbs. How could something so burned, so mutilated function? Perhaps Devon is not so cruel. Tonight is different, though. I now know he was here to witness Devon's power, and that shatters any hope. After seeing what the monster can do, how could he ever muster the courage to save me? He's only a teenager, the same age as I was when I died in time froze in hell's fire. Now there was no hope. "Oh God," I whispered. I knew I was crying, though I felt no wetness. The mask pressed so close to me that the tears flowed down its porcelain features instead of my own. What would I do now that my only hope of peaceful rest was gone? Pain I'd learned to tolerate, but not this all-encompassing desperation. There was nothing now. Devon could drag my empty shell to hell where I truly belonged. Though there was no comfort in the thought, there was a finality of giving in that calmed me. I staggered out of the house to tend to the roses. Night was my only refuge, for when the town was dead I could walk my lands. The roses would help me forget. I didn't have to think as I took care of each blossom. I envied them, for they breathed fresh air and felt sunlight. I'd been a part of specters and night for so long that I'd forgotten how sunlight felt. I began to hum as I trimmed the vines and trained my flowers. For several minutes I focused on the wall, trying to remember where the tune came from. The memory eluded me, though, and I could not remember where the tune or words came from. Still, it was a strange, beautiful medley of words. Did I need to understand beauty? The time spent in this perpetual prison had taught me that I did not. After a moment of allowing the tune to play in my head, I began to sing. Sing for me, sing me a song of frozen hearts and petals. Sirens croon, broken melodies, sing me a song of crimson innocence and blood against the hearth. Sing me a song. Your voice is beautiful. I jumped at his voice, whirling around to face him. He stood back against the wan light of the lonely light post. In his hand was a heavy seeming suitcase, oblong in shape. His eyes, what I could see of them, were wide. I stood there, not sure what to say. He set the suitcase down, and I realized that it was a guitar case. "What are you?" Again, I didn't have an answer to his tense question. I didn't know what to say. Here my salvation stood before me. After years of imagining this moment, of imagining tender words and caresses, I stood immobile and dumb. "Will you sing for me, then?" He swallowed, and I could easily tell he was terrified and nervous. Still, beneath that I could sense a connection, something inexplicable and powerful. I watched him take his guitar out and strum a few notes, the perfect melody of the song that I remembered. I'm not sure if that's right, but I think it's close. When I didn't respond, he nodded and began to play, strumming the tune slowly. When I caught the right riff, I began to sing. Sing me a song of frozen hearts and petals. Sirens croon, broken melodies. Sing me a song of crimson innocence and blood against the hearth. Sing me a song, your heart knew me once. All I know is suffering for a love never shared. Sing me your song, lift me to your angels and release my bonds. I cast away all for the truth. Sacrifice the sinning body for the redeemed soul. Allow me to return for my faith. Hear the words from my soul and free me of this torment. He played for some moments longer when my memory failed me and I couldn't remember the rest of the song. Finally the tune ceased and he sighed. That was beautiful. He studied me, but I stood motionless, studying him in return. making sure I remembered every piece of him for when day came. His golden brown hair that brushed his shoulders, the honey eyes that reflected back the light of the moon. "I don't know why I didn't leave," he said. "I ran, but I couldn't leave, not until I spoke to you." He swallowed. "I don't understand." I didn't either. I didn't understand why it was him that could see me, why it was now that he came. "You should go," I finally whispered. The words choked my heart, but I swallowed past the lump in my throat. "It's almost dawn." For a moment I thought he'd argue, but then he nodded and I breathed a sigh of relief. "I'll leave if you'll answer one question." "What's your name?" I hesitated. What name would I give him? The one that represented betrayal? The one that Devon caressed each night? I wish I could forget it. Instead, I would give him what I'd chosen for myself, something that meant ray of light, what I craved more than life itself. "Kieran." "I'm returning tomorrow, Kieran." I smiled, though he couldn't see beneath the weeping facade. "Please come after Devon leaves." For a moment my voice faltered. "I don't want you to witness that again, and I fear for you." He nodded and turned to leave. "Wait," I whispered. "What's your name?" "Nothing so pretty as Kieran," he replied with a small laugh. "The name's Lee."